Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the HDZero Nano camera. This little guy right here. My camera barely focuses on that. Yeah, it's HDZero. It's the digital video system from HDZero. You've probably heard of that a little bit. And this little camera, just like all the other cameras, has that low latency of the HDZero system. Just about what we see in analog. And you know what this came with? Stickers! The camera weighs just a touch over 4 grams. Also, the camera with the back on it. Of course, you have longer screws that are included with the kit. Weighs about 4.3 grams. And then the camera mounting, of course, is 14 millimeters wide. So you may need an adapter for that, which, you know, I don't have retail packaging, so it might come with an adapter. It might not. I just don't know at this point. Also, the camera from nose to back without the back is 20 millimeters. And it does use this MIPI connection here. And no, that's not the same connector that you saw in some of those split sort of cameras that were analog and recorded HD. And no, you can't use the MIPI connector from other cameras either. You need to use the one that's specifically for this camera. And thankfully, you have various lengths that are available from the resellers and from HDZero that you can purchase. Okay, as you can tell here, we're going to go for our sunny flight. I do have a cloudy flight that I will show you as well. It was much easier to get a cloudy flight because it was cloudy for several days. And thankfully, just today, I ran home from lunch and it was beautiful and sunny out, so I took off. It was serious cold though. I think the actual temperature, well, serious cold for this time of year and for me, was 29 degrees, and the real feel, as the Weather Channel likes to put it, came down around 26 degrees. So my little tiny fingers were certainly cold, and this flight goes on for about 5 minutes. I'm not certain that the whole 5 minutes will be necessary, but I think one of my prevailing thoughts after watching this time and time again, not only is this better than all the other nano cameras we've seen for HDZero, or as you might call it, SharkBite, but this camera also, to give it a fair shake, you really need to be in the goggles. I know we've said that about analog cameras for a long time, and when I did analog cameras, I would try to record straight from the camera to get it as good as I could. In this case, we don't have that option, but I think if you're watching it on a phone and you're full screen, depending upon the size of your phone, that might be about right to what I see in the goggles. But if you're watching it on a computer or a laptop and you're watching it fairly large screened, if you really want to diagnose the image quality, I think bringing that screen down to what you, not the size of what we see in the goggles, but a kind of a perspective of something less than going full screen with your laptop. So, you know, if you say you have a laptop screen that's 15 inches, you know, shrink that down a touch, and that will get you closer to what I see in the goggles. Matter of fact, when I compare the HDZero system in goggles, when I compare it to my HDO2 goggles versus the SharkBite Scout goggles, the SharkBite Scout goggles looks even better, but unfortunately the DVR isn't as good in my opinion. So it might be close, but it's just, I don't have that high confidence that that DVR is quite as good. I almost crashed there as I try to back up away from that tree for you. I thought that would be an interesting perspective. As you got closer to something and back up, you could maybe gain the detail that you that decreases as you back away from stuff and as new detail comes into view. That might be something you want to see. That's why I did that and nearly crashed. Thankfully, I didn't crash, because I probably would have had to go back inside for a half hour to warm my fingers up, because boy, nobody wanted to warm my fingers up when I got back in the house. And the girls, not my wife, nobody wanted anything to do with my fingers. They all knew it was cold outside. Neighbor girls have left their bikes kind of at the edge of their yard, kind of in our yard. Family living, right? And so I do a little bit better job backing up away from those. We're also going to pull up to the garage so you get to see whether it has any warping or fishbowl or fish eye sort of view to it. I don't notice that in this camera, so if you see it, let me know. Maybe I can train my eyes to see it a little bit better, but you know, I think at my age, I don't know if my eyes or myself, I'm able to train to do new things because it's got to be pretty dramatic for me to notice the fishbowl. I've commented that on other cameras recently on the channel with the Beta FPV whoops that I've been flying, and hopefully you've seen those. It's whoop season, and this is why it's whoop season. It's cold outside. And no, I'm not running the 1 watt VTX. That's not in here. This isn't even the new VTX. This isn't the new smaller square race VTX. This is the original race VTX, the longer boarded one. It's what I had set up and ready to go, so it makes things nice and clean for me to just pop in a new camera and have it ready to go out for a fly. So if you're judging the breakup thinking you're looking at a new VTX from HDZero, no, you're not. But this gives us a view of kind of what I'd call a high sky. There's barely any clouds in the sky. It's full bright. We get to fly through a lot of the shadows. We get to look into the shadows. We get to look from the shadows out to the sunny stuff and into shadows. Like if you look well, we just passed it, so you'll have to go back. But when I'm flying in the shadow and then it's sunny, and then if you look into my neighbor's porch area, there's another dark area over there. So you could even kind of use that to judge the image quality. But I think the image quality is really, really good. And as I say, from what you see here on the screen, it's better in the goggles. I can't really tell you how much better it is, but it's just better in the goggles. Is it 100% better? No, it's some smaller percentage better. Unfortunately, when I went up high there, I got kind of directly over myself. I got in the null of my circular polarized antenna, so the breakup got kind of bad there. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to make sure I disclose that I am not running a new VTX on this. This is the standard VTX that I've had in this quad for the last, 4 or 5 months. Maybe it hasn't been that long. I can show it to you when we get back to the desk just as a proof of concept because I've still got the camera in there. HDZero was kind enough to send me 2 cameras, which I often do request because that makes things a whole lot easier because I can show you one and I can leave the other one on the quad that I've got ready to go and fly it around. Hopefully this is a good amount of footage. We've seen almost 5 minutes. Let's go over to that cloudy day and see how it fares in a much less sunny situation. Same starting spot as we take off here. And you can see all those clouds. Much darker day. But I think this was only 2 or maybe 3 days before. You can see my neighbors still got their Thanksgiving blow-up sort of things out in their yard. Leaf pattern might be a little bit different as the leaves have continued to fall. But, relatively same period of time, just a really cloudy day. And I go for another fly around the neighborhood. You can judge all the colors in this lower light situation. I did not do nighttime testing. This camera does not boast itself as being a starlight camera. And it's certainly a whole lot colder when it gets dark out. You can see me sitting on the porch over there with my coat on and 2 of my kids heading out. Look at him. Shorts, no coat. What's wrong with teenagers? I think it was either last year or the year before we had about 4 or 5 inches of snow and he kept telling us it wasn't cold out. And his sisters and I were giving him the business. So he went and stood on the porch and we locked the front door and he just stood out there for, 6 or 7 minutes before I unlocked the door. I was like, girls, you got to let him in. He's being stubborn. He's going to end up with frostbite or something. Anywho, they go taking off and I continue to fly around the neighborhood as we continue to take a look at this HDZero Nano camera. If you have experienced this system, it does canvas mode. So unlike some brethren you might be looking at, this one gives you full OSD support through Betaflight. I'm pretty certain it's full. It gives you all the elements I've ever used. And then also the VRX puts the antenna signal up there, and then we get the red dot to indicate that we are recording. Records automatically. You can set your VRX that way, which is nice. I set mine that way, and that way I don't have to fuss with any buttons. I just plug it in. I wait a second. It starts recording, shows the red dot, and then when I unplug the quad, the screen goes to that famous rainbow that we oftentimes see when we don't have a signal, and then the red dot goes to gray, and I know the recording is complete, and I'm all set for the next flight or the next recording, whichever I might be doing. Just going around and looking at stuff. I actually started this recording earlier, and then I got a FaceTime from my 12-year-old. I don't know what she was thinking. She was supposed to be in bed in her room, lights off, and she FaceTimes me. Oh, man. Life is always interesting. And she said hello. She didn't hang up when I answered either. It's not like she knew she was doing anything wrong. She thought she was doing something fun. Normally, when I see her phone, and her phone isn't actually phone, it's a phone that only has Wi-Fi. When I see that, I just take it down to its charging station. But apparently today I forgot. But she reminded me. Maybe that's the reason why she FaceTimed me. She didn't say that, but when I told her, I kind of scolded her, "What are you doing up?" She's just like, "Hi, Dad. What are you doing?" Just so innocent and just always happy. That kid is always happy. All three kids are so different. It's strange how they got the same parents' DNA but ended up so different. I don't know. Can't explain it. Such is life. I think a couple minutes of this cloudy footage has surely got to be enough. Let's go back to the desk and we'll wrap up. I should mention, as much as I refer to this as the HDZero camera, it is a collaboration with RunCam. So RunCam gets some credit there too. So hopefully you weren't watching that on a giant monitor and it was all stretched out. Remember, give it a fair shot, just like you might with an analog camera. Watch it at a relatively, smallish sort of view that is give you a representation of what it looks like in the goggles. I'm not trying to sway you or get you to buy something you don't want. As I watched that footage time and time again, after I had just flown it today at lunchtime, I thought, boy, it just looks better in the goggles. Dang it, right? Well, so the price point on this, I don't know. It's not listed yet, but my understanding is resellers should have this on Monday. As I record this, it's Friday, and this video should be up on Saturday, so I've got some work yet to do tonight. So these cameras will be pre-order, and I will put as many links as I can find down in the video description down below to where you can check out the price. And maybe your supported reseller that you like to spend your dollars at is supported and has this camera and has one for sale for you, at least pre-order. When the micro cameras from HDZero went on sale, they were going like hotcakes. That pre-order might not be a bad idea if you're interested. I might not have links when this video launches, but as the day goes forward, I'll try to find them. And you can do your Google foo and find them as well, but for easy clickability, I'll try to add them as I get them. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise about the HDZero Nano camera, please let me know in the comments section below. I appreciate your time. And thanks for watching.